Derek Kanwischer. Do runners eat waffles? Probably not too many.
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 Depends on the day. We have our long runs on Sunday, and when you get home on Sunday, it's like
waffles the ticket then.
Yeah.
All right.
Waffles and just about everything else.
Good to hear that.
Load up after one of those races.
Hey, thanks for joining us here. We've kind of been teasing you throughout the program because we have no idea what your level of fitness is to run a marathon. 26.2 miles, is it? Or thereabouts.
That's what they say, but I actually just looked at my watch when I was done, and I actually ran 26.5.
Really? You take a wrong turn, or?
Well, we're talking about the Boston Marathon, which is, I guess kind of the queen mother of all marathons. It's one of the most famous that you hear about, and this year especially was interesting to me because of the weather reports that we started hearing of. The heat was going to be unbearable, and there was talk of should we even do it at all? And so there was some doubt as to whether it was going to happen, and there were several that were registered to run that didn't, a whole bunch. Tell us what was going through your head when you get out there on race day, and it is hot. When you first showed up to the Boston Marathon, what was the temperature that morning?
At the start of the race, I think it was maybe 72 or so it was hot, but I mean, coming up to this moment, I mean, you just have so much invested in what got you to this point. I mean, we're talking about months of training, and like literally, I don't think there's a day that went by that I didn't think about this day, this impending day that's coming up, So, a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of training, and it all builds up to this day. And there's so many things that you can control, like running with this training group. It's like you're training so many miles a week, up to 50, sometimes up to 80 miles a week. And you're doing speed work, tempo work, you're doing your long runs. And meanwhile, you're not going on these little vacations, you're not going skiing, you're not snowboarding. So it all builds up to this one day.
So the heat was not even a consideration then, really, was it? Other than it's hot, you'll have to adjust your race maybe accordingly.
Well, yeah, so the heat is something that everyone has to deal with. Ultimately, there's things you can control, and there's things that you can't. And for me, it was just, there's so much invested, and for everyone there, it's just like, this is heartbreak moment in a sense.
Yeah. Well, I got a stupid question, which I know amazes our audience because I rarely ever ask those, but I have one here. Can anyone run in this marathon, or is this a qualifying thing that you've got to build up to get into?
This is one of few, and forgive me if my facts are off, but it's one of few marathons that you have to qualify for.
Okay.
And the standards they're pretty tough.
It's a time qualifying in a sanctioned race, correct?
Right, and there's only certain races that are qualified to qualify you.
So let's maybe start there as far as, okay, you had this goal in mind, this training, and we often think of running as this singular sport. It's by yourself, it's just you. But actually, you had a lot of folks help you, and I know you wanted to bring them up. Run Wild Missoula being one that were instrumental in you getting where you got to here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess it all goes back to last summer, just coming up to the Missoula Marathon, and I've known people that are part of the running club before then, and thought it would be great, but I always kind of thought, I'm just kind of that
recreational runner.
Yeah, you got it, totally. So, but I ran the Missoula Marathon and ended up qualifying, without any aspirations to do so.
Oh.
And next thing I knew is talking to people, and they're like, it's your opportunity, you should go for it. So I signed up, and I didn't just sign up for the marathon, I really signed up, for a lot more than I bargained for.
Yeah.
So winning the Missoula Marathon, or being in the Missoula Marathon, qualifying, that was what got you to be able to be in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah. There's definitely no winning of the Missoula Marathon, but there was finishing that.
Yeah.
And
didn't Kiefer win it last year? Or
he didn't run last year.
He didn't run last year. A year ago we had him on, and he was a card to have on too to talk about running.
Yeah. He's a machine.
Yeah. So Missoula Marathon, and actually, what we have here is that your time of 2 hours, 57 minutes, 34 seconds was 403rd among. Oh gosh, how many are in the Boston Marathon? It's like in 10,000, isn't it? Or
23,000. It might be 27.
That's ridiculous. That's crazy. But you were actually the top finisher for Missoula.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it felt great, and I certainly wasn't running against, other people or other Montanans or things. I was just running for myself, and actually kind of to uphold a commitment that I really made to myself, and kind of the payback that I wanted to, pay respect to is, all the wasted time and maybe yawns that, I had maybe experienced talking to my friends, like what am I going to talk about? I'm talking about running because that's what I do. It became my life. So.
It did, didn't it?
You spent so much time preparing for this, and I mean, grueling. You talk about some of the sacrifices. You didn't get to go skiing. You didn't get to do a lot of things you wanted because this became. Did you have a goal when you got to the Boston Marathon? Was there a goal that you said, okay, if I do this, I'm going to be happy with myself? Was there anything like that in your head before you started?
That's a great question, and honestly, I wouldn't think that would have been enough, like at the time to think that it's worth all these sacrifices, but now having experienced it, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel it. So, but just like the running group that I was going to mention, it's just like, well, going back to a previous question a little bit, it's just that, just the support and kind of all the people that you're running with. And like, these are all just a group of people that you're meeting with, and they're the type of people that you can kind of geek out with and you can talk about running with.
And they're accountability partners.
Absolutely, yeah. You're getting out for those early morning Sunday runs, and when later in the day it's going to be warmer, it's going to be a much better run. But if you get out there early in the morning, it's going to make the whole rest. It makes the rest of your day, it makes your week,
Let me ask you this. We're with Derek Kanwischer here, a Boston Marathon winner. Have you ever done anything like this before? It seems like, as we're talking here now, that the commitment you undertook.
It's a big moment in your life.
Maybe it took you by surprise a little bit, or I don't know if you can reflect on that. Has it changed any other activity? But have you ever done anything like this before?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think most everything I do for myself. Not so much athletic. I played college soccer. Then just academically, making it through my master's and starting to work on my PhD, we're all pretty big achievements, where you set your mind to something and you got to see it through. And, different jobs, that require a lot of effort and just a lot of vision and kind of setting goals, and you got to get there. And this for me was one of those, and I didn't take it lightly, so. And to say that I sacrificed all my skiing and snowboarding, I just want to say I did get some.
You got a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Was there a time, though, Derek, when you were training for this, that you started having doubts where you were like, maybe I don't need to do this? I mean, were there friends with Run Wild Missoula or any of that said, wait a minute, Derek, refocus, you can do this? I mean, were there times in that? Because this had to be a pretty heavy commitment of training.
Well, I think I'm certainly representative of many people, is that many of us encountered injuries, and many of us had conflicts and stuff where we had to take a week off, and you can't just jump right back into training. You got to kind of build yourself back up, and people set really pretty ambitious goals for themselves, and really the toughest thing to do is to get to the marathon without an injury. And to be healthy and to kind of peak on that day, and the whole training program is kind of structured to get you there to peak when you get to Boston. So.
And let's talk about that experience when we come back. The start to finish, as you kind of talked about, because Boston Marathon, 26,000 people there, record-setting day. You're psyched up for a good performance, but actually getting from start to finish over that your 3-hour period,
take us on the race when we come back. I want to hear about this.
Derek Kanwischer, our guest here with Curly's coaches. Damon Moore, pardon me, it's Dale Moore.
Yeah.
Damon is no longer, he's still alive.
He's still alive,
but